So you're thinking about getting into voice acting, but now you're wondering, how do I actually get started in voiceover? And today I'm going to walk you through exactly what it takes to start a voiceover career without the hype and without the fear. I'm going to deliver 5 things you need to get started, as well as 3 things you don't need, and map out the first steps you should take in your journey. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Amy, a more than 15-year veteran of the voice acting industry and an Emmy-nominated broadcaster who has created this channel to help voice actors and speaking professionals unlock their performance potential. Voiceover is a skill. It's about bringing words to life, communicating clearly, and engaging your listener. And here's the exciting part. There are so many different kinds of voiceover work. You've got commercials, e-learning, audiobooks, video games and animation, corporate narration, IVR phone systems. The list goes on and on and on. And the key is really figuring out where your voice fits best and honing that craft. So let's talk about the essentials. If you're serious about getting into voiceover, here are 5 things you actually need to get started. First, a quiet space. Now, you don't need a fancy studio, but you do need a quiet, controlled environment to record in. So you want to think about closets in your house, small rooms, preferably without windows, maybe in a finished part of your basement or an extra guest room, or maybe even looking into creating a do-it-yourself vocal booth. Secondly, you're going to need a decent mic and some basic gear. Now, a solid USB connection mic can get you started, but eventually an XLR mic with an interface is a better long-term investment. And don't worry if you don't know the difference between those two things right now. We're going to get into a little bit more of that later on. You're also going to need what's called a DAW, which is a digital audio workstation, to record and edit your voiceovers. Again, maybe this sounds a little scary, very techy. It's okay. We'll get you there. The third thing you're going to need is not a physical piece of equipment, but it is more something intangible. You need a learning mindset. Voiceover is a skill, like I said, so it's going to require practice, training, and patience. You want to be a lifelong learner in voiceover because you're going to need to work on your mic technique, some basic audio editing skills, speaking techniques, even brushing up some acting chops. And that's before you even get into things like character voices or different dialects and accents. There are so many things to learn in developing and evolving your voiceover skill. Fourth, you're going to need a basic demo. Your demo is kind of like your resume in the voiceover world. And a lot of people, you will hear them say, go spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to have a professional record your first demo for you. I'm saying, yes, that is a goal that you sooner rather than later will want to have a professional demo producer get your demo made for you. But when you're starting out, you can create a simple homemade demo to showcase your range. And that's going to be once you start to really explore what niches your voice fits best in, and you've already brushed up on some of those basic audio editing skills that we just talked about. Last but not least, fifth on this list, you will need a marketing plan. And once you get to a point where you're ready to audition, you have to figure out, where are you going to find work? Are you going to start on gig platforms like Upwork or Fiverr, or pay-to-play sites like voices.com or voice123.com, or direct marketing, where you research the clients you want to approach and you send them what is basically cold call emails with your demos. Having a plan for marketing before you jump in is going to make all the difference. So that's 5 things that you need to get started on your voiceover journey. Here's what you absolutely do not need on day 1. You do not need a professional level recording studio with thousands of dollars worth of equipment. That is something that you can set as a long-term goal and strive to get to after you've spent some time actually booking gigs and earning some money. Then you're going to want to invest that back into a professionally produced demo or upgrading your equipment and your studio space into better and better, more high quality equipment. But you don't need to do that right off the bat. The second thing you absolutely don't need right now is an agent or a high profile client. I've been in this business for more than 15 years and I still don't have an agent. That is an intentional choice that I have made in my voiceover journey, is to not have representation. And you can absolutely make a career out of voiceover without having an agent. So that's not something you need to go looking for right out of the gate. And you also don't need to chase the big name clients right away. A lot of times you're just going to get lost in the shuffle when you haven't really honed your skill as a professional yet. For that matter, I'll throw in an extra one. You don't need to run out to join the SAG-AFTRA Actors Union right away. Again, this is another voiceover career decision I've made. I am not a member of SAG-AFTRA. I am not a member of the Actors Union. It means that some bigger, high-profile jobs aren't available to me, but I have made a very good living on non-union work, and that's something we'll talk about further in other videos on the channel later on. Third thing that you don't need right now on day one, you don't need any kind of rush to go quit your day job tomorrow. Your goal here isn't perfection, it's progress. You're going to want to start with the basics and grow from there. You're going to initially look at voiceover as something new that you're starting and you're learning, and you're going to want to keep it as a side hustle for now. That's what I did. I worked on my voiceover business part-time as a side hustle for many, 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 many years until I grew my client portfolio to the point that my repeat business was able to sustain full-time income for me. Okay, so now that you know 5 things you need and 3 things you don't, what are the first steps you should take in your voiceover journey? First is going to be something that you're going to do for the lifetime of your career as a voice actor, and that is practice daily. How do you practice? You read out loud constantly. Mimic commercials, narrate random things. If you are reading a news article online, if you're reading a book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, spend 10 to 15 minutes every single day reading out loud. Not only is it going to start to build up the endurance in your voice, your throat, the muscles supporting your vocal cords, your breath support, and your diaphragm, but it's also going to get you comfortable with just simply speaking out loud in different kinds of styles. You can play with some character voices and just start stretching and broadening what you can do with your voice to get comfortable with it. Second, this is sometimes difficult for people when they first start out. Record yourself and listen to it back. And if that makes you kind of cringe, I totally get that. Most people don't like to hear themselves. Getting over that cringe factor when you hear yourself on a recording is going to be one of the first goals you want to accomplish. Because honestly, the fastest way to improve, listening to yourself. You're going to start to hear what works and what doesn't. And if you're too distracted by just not liking hearing your own voice, you're not going to be able to have an honest and objective self-critique to help yourself start to improve. Third, you're going to want to learn from free and affordable resources. Remember, lifelong learner. There are tons of amazing YouTube videos, podcasts, and online communities that are full of great information that are free or low cost. Use them, get involved, ask questions, and start to become a sponge. Just soak in as much information as you can about the industry, the equipment that you'll need, audio editing, all of those types of things. Next, I want you to start thinking about building a simple demo. Now, this isn't your final professional demo. At first, you just want a few clean, well-recorded samples of your voice that you can start to put out there. This is not going to be something you're going to do in the next 2 or 3 days. Spend a few weeks starting to practice daily, reading out loud, starting to record yourself and listen back and start to self-critique yourself. As I said, start learning about all of the aspects, and then you want to start thinking about putting together a small basic demo. Here is my tip though, when you do that, do not ever use copyrighted material for your demo. That means don't rip off anything that anyone else has written, whether it's a book, an article, or even a sample voiceover script. And don't use any brand names that you haven't already been contracted to work for. So don't make up a McDonald's commercial or a Nike commercial or a Hilton Hotels commercial. That can get you in a whole heap of trouble. So when you are starting out and you want to put together a very basic demo with a few scripts, you're going to want to either make up scripts completely on your own with made up brands, or you're going to want to try to find a free online library where you can get some sample scripts to work from that are royalty free. The fifth thing you want to do to get started on this path is set some realistic goals. Instead of, hey, I want to be the next voice of Disney by Thursday, try this instead. I want to land my first paying voiceover gig in 3 to 6 months. Like we said, progress, not perfection. And that's a goal that's absolutely attainable, that maybe in the next 3 to 6 months, you could land a gig. And that would be quite an achievement, and you would celebrate for sure on that day. Okay, so I get it. You want to know how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. So let's try to break it down a little bit for you. In terms of costs, as I said, you don't have to break the bank right out of the gate. Why would you want to spend thousands of dollars to start in an industry if you're just exploring it to determine if this is something that you even want to do? You can absolutely get started for under $300, maybe $300 to $500 if you make some smart choices. And that's going to include a good microphone, headphones, and your quiet recording space. In terms of time, if you are constantly practicing and learning, you could realistically be auditioning within months, not years from now. Will you be making 6 figures in the next 30 days? No, but you can build a strong foundation and maybe start to book gigs sooner than you might think. My philosophy has always been, do one thing every day, no matter how small it is. Do one thing every day that's going to inch you closer to your goal, that's going to help you take the next step. If you keep doing that, those little baby steps eventually compound into big steps towards your goal, and you'll be booking that first gig before you know it. Now, if there's one thing that you take away from this video, let it be this. Every successful voice actor started at 0, myself included. The difference? They kept going. This industry takes a lot of patience, a whole lot of persistence, and a heaping amount of resilience. You're going to improve with time and feedback and practice, believe me, even when it doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere, even when you keep hearing no, even when you feel like you're having setbacks or you're just not making any headway. Just keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep believing in yourself. You can do this. You've totally got this. All right, so if you've made it this far and this still sounds like something that you're serious about, I've got some free resources to help you out. First off, I said earlier in the video, oh my goodness, if knowing the difference between a USB or an XLR mic has you completely befuddled, or you don't understand a digital audio workstation and basic audio editing and what all of that technical mumbo jumbo means, I've got you covered. Download my free Voice Actors Home Studio Starter Pack. It has everything you need to start setting up your space, and it's really aimed at making it budget-friendly, beginner-friendly, with entry-level gear recommendations that aren't going to break the bank, and it helps to break down for you what some of these technical pieces of equipment actually are. Included in that document is also some links to equipment that I actually used when I was just starting my voiceover business, and there's even some links to equipment that I still use today, 15 years into my career in the industry. The next thing I want you to do is subscribe to this channel for more voiceover tips, practice techniques, and just real talk about this industry. We're not going to hype you up too much, and we're also not going to scare the living daylights out of you. So hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out. But what if you're saying, Amy, I still have that little voice of self-doubt that's whispering, I don't know, is voiceover really for me? I've got a video where I break down 10 key questions to help you figure out if building a voiceover business is the right move for you. So click right here to watch it and walk away feeling really confident in your decision.